Welcome. Welcome. This is episode 134 of Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Jackkadis. And today, we are going to speak. Probably going to start with a couple words here, finish with a couple words there. Today I got hot chocolate. Ask me why. Well, I can't hear what you're saying, because I'm over here and you're over there, but you can probably hear that, can't you? Yesterday I started this episode. I started this off in a pretty good, pretty nice fashion, I'd say. I spoke about pacing. And it's funny because even when you are conscious about pacing yourself, it is still just as hard. So, when I try to slow my speech, I'm also slowing my thoughts. That's a scary thing. Because it pulls into question whether or not I'm thinking the right things. I think a lot of my framework kind of relies on going fast. I think lots of thoughts. I think them very fast. And because of that, I say, well, at least I think lots of things. But I'm getting to this point where I'm starting to feel that it doesn't quite matter how many things I think of if I'm never able to focus on one for an extended amount of time. So, we can try and find a topic here, and we can try and just stick on it for as long as possible, maybe. Maybe that'd be a good exercise. I think something else that's great and helpful is the fact that I have this hot chocolate here. I feel like I'm always with the ability to take a sip, if you know what I'm saying. So it's Saturday now. I've got work again today. Stayed up later than I did. So if we look at the past 3 days and 3 nights, the first 2 of which I got to bed around 11, although 2 nights ago it was more like 1. And yesterday night it was also more like 1 in the morning, 1:30. And that, definitely resulted in me having a harder time getting up. This morning I woke up to my alarm, and it's I have to give myself credit because I am making progress. I'm not waking up with like pounding headaches. I'm not waking up disoriented. But I did kind of sit in bed. And what really matters, I think, is that I got up in time for me to get all the filming done before work. Even though yesterday at work, I didn't go to work yesterday, but I did stop by work to use their Wi-Fi. And I think I'll probably keep doing that throughout this summer just because there's people there. And it's a place that's not my house. It's a place to get work done. So I definitely can see myself making Jersey Mike's part of my everyday routine, whether or not, I have work or not. This is it, keeping it real. This is the kind of thing, that, you really do figure this kind of thing out on the go. I think there's a lot of security in, different paths. But I feel that with security, Yeah, I don't know, really. My mom on the phone to me yesterday suggested enrolling in summer school. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I do think I'd like to enroll in the fall. I think that I could, finish my associate's degree in the course of this next year, I think. Well, I don't know. That'd be a lot of classes. I made plans, I think. 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be going home. Today, I'm calling off work from the 21st to the 2nd. That's a lot of time off work. And a lot of money I'm not going to make. So it's kind of anxiety inducing, especially because I'm going to start paying my own rent and such this coming month. Today is May 10th, 2025. And here I am, once again in front of the camera. Not necessarily there's just a really big focus right now on consistency and routine. And that doesn't mean, you can't consistently improve. Improving is very much a jump that can only be made after resting and being consistent in what it is you currently do, I feel like. Yeah, sometimes you don't land that jump. But, there are people that are better at jumping than others. There are people that jump every day and are lapped by people that make one big jump every week. So, when it comes to this, and when it comes to, I'm keeping in mind sort of what's happening, right? I'm keeping in mind where I've come from, right? I have not been ordering DoorDash. I've not been staying up past 1:30 in the morning. And for the past couple of days, I have gotten this video stuff done, locked, loaded, sealed away before I've gotten home from work. And those are 3 very powerful jumps that I've made in my life. So when it comes to understanding what's important for today, it's very much being consistent. And that's okay if being consistent feels like I'm just holding on for dear life. Like, for example, please, as I was laying in bed after I woke up this morning, I had snoozed my alarm so many times, and I grabbed my laptop and I'm waking myself up by watching social media, and that's just, you shouldn't do that, but I started to kind of go back in my head back and forth a little bit, should I just fall back asleep? Should I just lay here for the next 3 hours before work? I can just get this done after work. And I got up, and that's what matters. I got up, and I showered, and I shaved, and I'm in front of the Keeping It Real camera, and after this, I'll go and do everything else, get all the filming done, And at work tonight, it's just me and Key, and I'll upload everything and get it done, you know? It's okay if it feels like I'm holding on for dear life, you know? It's okay if I feel like I barely got out of bed this morning. I barely made everything happen today. Because I made it happen, you know? And when you start to look at this bigger picture, when you chain these days together, if I continue to just cling on and make it happen, there's gonna come one of these days where I feel like I could take one more extra step, you know? And, dude, like, I got this. And I got my parents behind me. I feel like mom's watching this and she's seeing me do all this. And dad, I woke up to a text from dad today and he was like, tomorrow, go get groceries on me. And I'm like, dude, hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm going to go into that grocery store. Because you know what I did last night? Last night, I was so goddamn hungry. And I'm not like hungry boy, like don't have anything to eat hungry. Like, you know, like that kind of mindset that like I don't need to eat, but like I really just want to shove fast food down my throat because it would make me feel really good. That kind of hungry. And I didn't. Yes, I scavenged for food. Yes, I'm drinking hot chocolate that I cracked open that I had gifted to my roommates, but none of them opened. I wrote their name on it and put it on the top shelf, and none of them ever took any of it. But now they're all moving out, so I'm like, screw it. I'm drinking this hot chocolate. You know, I had a bunch of scoops of Sam's peanut butter. I ate a bunch of croutons. We had a bag of croutons. I killed that entire bag. And I finished the last 4 bites of Sam's like 5-day-old Papa John's dessert thing he had in the fridge. But damn it, I didn't spend a dime on McDonald's. Like, don't you see I'm winning? And now, I feel like I get to go to the grocery store tomorrow. And the main purpose of the grocery store, I have to get flowers for my grandma because it's Mother's Day. And I will do this. That's kind of, but you know, like that's kind of out of my routine. Like, that's kind of a jump. You know, because today I was barely able to get up and do this, right? So tomorrow I can expect to be kind of a rough day because I'm going to have to also make it to the grocery store. Like I have work tomorrow also. So it's going to be hard to do all these things. It's going to add, you know, not only am I going to have to wake up at the same time, but I'm going to actually have to get out of bed earlier. But I think I can do it. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. Having this drink really helps. It'd probably help more if it was water. But hey, something to keep in mind, you know? So, welcome to episode 134. Dude, how does this keep happening? We're just ticking towards 150? I mean, it was just episode 100. And you just know that episode 200 is just going to be there like, pop, you know? You know what else happened to me recently? So I give stuff away all the time, and I love to give things away. I feel like I'm really lucky to have lots of items and lots of, you know, stuff like that. So, and especially because I can't take all that I have with me to this new city that I want to move to in a year. there's even been a bigger weight on just like, what can I get away? What can I get away? I gave my good friend Jose my license plate collection with all my motorcycle license plates and my old keys and tags for my motorcycles because I knew that he would really appreciate that. Some of those plates I got at like the state fair. They're from like the 1980s. A lot of them came from the car wash. Some belonged to my grandmother. And I think he really will understand how important of a collection that was. And honestly, I believe that he'll continue it on. And as I continue to hang out and be his friend over the course of a lifetime, like I think the plates belong with him. A lot of guys were over staying at our place this past week-ish. And one of them is just really into music. And I love the passion that I see in his eyes when he talks about his music and how he makes his music and, what he hears and when he shows me his songs. And I have this big Bluetooth speaker that I bought it on a whim back when I had money to blow. And, I use it like once every month, to be honest. Like once or twice a month I use that thing. And whenever I use it, I always feel guilty because it's way too loud. I feel like the neighbors hear it. And, I never needed it. And it's huge. It's huge. It's a huge speaker. It's the biggest portable speaker JBL makes. That's not like the tower speaker. So it's like this, and it has this giant curved handle like this. A Mega Boom 3, I think it was called, if you want to Google it. And it's just like, duh, I'm going to give this to Elijah. But I bring this up because I gave it to him. I gave it to him as a gift. And he said, dude, I can pay you for this or something. And sometimes people just say that, and like I definitely gave it to him not expecting anything. But when he said that, I was kind of like, yeah, I would like some money. Because like it was an expensive speaker, and I'm really like, I wouldn't say struggling, but like, I don't know, the Jewishness in me is like really starting to kick in. Like I remember when I was 18 and I used to sort through the trash for dimes at my old job. Yeah, I would like some money, whatever you can pay me. And like that's honestly what's keeping me from ordering DoorDash, is because it's like, nope, I can't. Because every night I'm having to go on my bank. This is I'm gonna surprise my dad next time I see him, because he's always getting on me about all sorts of things. And one of the things he's always getting on me about is like keeping a budget. That's a big one. So I'm gonna surprise him next time I see him. I have been keeping a budget. I've been writing down in a composition book each day how much I spent. And on days where I come home and I'm about to write down what I spent, and I think, I'm like, well, I haven't taken out my debit card once today. I think I spent $0. Well, I log up onto the app. Turns out, nah, I spent $20 on a ChatGPT subscription. Canceled. Nah, I spent $100 on an Atlantic subscription. I already talked about that. That's ridiculous. Canceled. I'm canceling these things so they don't happen again. And it's only because I'm keeping a budget. And I think because I'm keeping a budget, I'm not ordering DoorDash and shit. I can't, I'm not even like, sometimes I would not order DoorDash, but then I'd be like, okay, I'll drive to the restaurant and pick it up, because then I can justify it. It's only $15 instead of $25, $35. And it ain't no better. Like, look, I scavenged. I have food. I have food at home. And there's chicken in my fridge that I still haven't cooked. When it comes down to it, I'm going to eat that. And Sam's going to leave me his pasta. He might even leave his ramen. If I'm lucky, he'll leave his ramen. So, it's victory after victory over here at 1911 Wolf Tech Lane. Yeah, that's why, that's the good side. That's the yay side. But the bad side is like, I'm still kind of a bum. Like, I gotta just make it to my job and back, and like, I'm on the internet. Like, that's all I can really still manage. But it's okay, because I am managing it. And I used to not manage anything. So we're making it, baby. We are making it. Now imagine me with a bachelor's degree after 4 years of managing school. Because I've been thinking about it throughout this past couple months. And school, I've always been, school in the fall seems like the right course of action for me. Even though I think I would like to go to school in Manhattan, there's no point in waiting. School in the fall seems right. Summer, that seems like a bit too sharp of a thing. Like I'd like to see what else I can do with these two things that I'm managing right now. See how early I can push this stuff in the morning, that kind of thing. See, it's these moments I catch myself. I think I was just talking a bit too fast, and in turn thinking a bit too fast. And then there's like 3 different branches of thought path, and I'm not able to follow all 3 at once. So I kind of just stop, and I kind of relax, and I'm like, okay, just what's the one path right now? And the one path, well, I was talking about school, and I just want to imagine. I want to manifest, I guess, what it might seem like for me to manage school. And over the past month or so, it's not like it goes back and forth, and you don't really think. But what you do realize is I do not, emphasis on DONOT, do not want to stop. I don't want to stop working. I don't want to stop the videos either. The video is very much something that I felt I could start with the security of knowing that, like, I have no boss here. I have no, when it comes to the video stuff, like, I'm in sort of complete control of whether or not, like this is up to me. The success of this is up to me. The consistency of this is up to me. And now is very much something that I felt like I needed to begin. It's something that my whole life I could point to and say, this is completely because of me. I felt like if I had if I had poured myself into school, or if I had poured myself into a job instead of this, then I could pour myself into it, right? But I think I'd have a problem down the road, truly understanding whether what percentage of something was because of me entirely, and what percentage was because, like, everyone else does this sort of thing. Everyone else does a job. Everyone else goes to school. Like, how much did that actually contribute to me being able to do it, to manage it? And I guess you could look back on what I've been through, and what has, like, been tough in my life, and point to certain happenings that may have caused and affected their way into me doing this. Relationships not working out, even though you feel like you felt like you gave it your best and it didn't work out, and so, like, you want to have something that you can give your best to, and it can work out just because you give it your best. And that's what this is. It's like, I know that I don't know, what goals I'm going to end up setting for myself with this, or where it might take me, or what might happen. But I do know that as long as I give it my best, and it's existential, like everything, because I define what my best is. But it doesn't, as long as I continue to give it my best, it works out. It's like happily ever after. And I don't have to worry so much about, like, somebody snipping the line. It's kind of, this is kind of born out of, like, some sort of weird trust issue thing. How do I know, that if I go to college, I'm gonna, like, college doesn't promise me any of the things that I want. A lot of people go to college because, in in reality, a lot of people, they head to college because they're really excited to have sex, drink and have friends and be cool and like hang out and grow older with kids all around them. And the studying thing is like, it's just sort of guidelines or just sort of like guide rails to keep you from like, doing anything crazy like fucking meth, but that's nothing. I think I purposely pushed that away because, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I think I did all that stuff in high school. Yeah, I did a lot in high school. One time I got pulled over. I was drunk and high. The cop let me go. One time I was high as fuck on mushrooms in my first block math class and we had a test. One time the stories never end, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, I think I lived enough in my high school years so I can turn down the potential of like college for making memories and things. No, I don't think that at all. Matter of fact, a lot of times right behind this door and through this window, I'll sit wondering, did I really make the right choice? And was I really thinking about this hard enough? Because, people get dressed up nice and they go to these formals. They're part of sororities and fraternities. And it looks like so much fun. I'm here. Yesterday night I went out to the bar because I was just like, I don't know. I wanted to go out to the bar. That you can kind of fill in the blanks. I wanted to go out to the bar. And in comes this group of people that just graduated from law school, and they're all just like such homies, and they're all drinking and having fun, and there's girls, and I'm just not a part of it. And I made myself like this outsider. Like, I'm playing pool with this guy, and like, it's just a guy we're playing pool, but like, I can't help but wonder what he thinks of me. Does he think like, does he wonder why I'm alone? Like, what I mean? Like, am I cool enough to seem like it's cool that I'm alone, or is it sad? Like, I don't like. So, yeah, I mean, where were we even? Maybe I was going too fast again. Maybe take a deep breath. Maybe I don't really know. I'm not really sure. Someone just came out of that door, by the way. The door across from my door. I thought nobody was living there, but a girl. She looked like she was dressed to go work out. She just left, and she was very like. I don't know. I feel like she must have either she's been kind of seeing me do this, or like maybe that's her bedroom right there with that window, and like she peeked out or she heard me or something. But she very much opened the door already trying to be like cautious because because I'm filming, And I would turn, if I caught her eye, but I looked at her and I wasn't able to catch her eye because she was like locking the door when I looked. So I just decided to stay focused. If you probably weren't even able to hear it, but this was probably like 5 minutes ago, and my speech very much went into like default mode. I was just giving filler words because I was a little bit nervous. People don't realize this, but it never changes the nerves on camera. It just sort of like it's different. Like you wouldn't recognize this necessarily, whereas I am very quick to recognize everyone else's nerves when it comes to cameras because, well, everyone, I was once like, it's like I'm on both sides of the door, so I can understand, I can understand, like kind of that walk, that movement of like, oh, like it's kind of like you're trying not to wake a baby, even though, she has no idea that this mic wouldn't even pick her up if she spoke to me, and this camera's pointed towards me, like you're never going to see her. But how is she, it's like it's cool. I feel like that's the kind of thing that I sort of like grab onto and I'm like, that's cool. It's like I kind of have a little bit of a superpower. I used to work at the car wash and I even kind of like lied necessarily. I used to tell people like, oh, I know what the interior of every car looks like just by looking at the outside of it. And that's not true. That's not true. I don't have a photographic memory, and I didn't. But, you know, I knew brands of cars very well. I knew, like, the feel of cars. I knew, like, you know, I knew my way around cars more than the average person would, and I felt like I didn't really know how to say that. So I just decided to sort of over-exaggerate, you know, just give some sort of little tidbit, like, oh, I know the inside of every car, you know? And I don't think that's lying. I think it's just trying to express yourself. Like, and I might tell somebody, hey, I'm successful as YouTube. Now, I've never told anybody this, but I could see myself saying it. Like, oh yeah, I'm pretty successful on YouTube. Even though, like, you know, people wouldn't really call my numbers right now successful. I would still say it because I don't really know, like, that's the shortened version of I'm really consistent on YouTube. Maybe I wouldn't say that. Maybe I would stick to I'm really consistent on YouTube, because that is, like, the truth. So, you know, it's 1:12. Coming up at 1:45, I'll go on my walk, and we'll make it to work just on time. Today be an awful day for Christina to walk in on me. I'm at the end of my hot chocolate. It's not even hot anymore. A big shout out. I want to show appreciation to my mother, whom's just harvested the first, I believe, edible food from her backyard garden. It was sent to the family group chat, which I have seen. And Mom, congratulations. That's awesome. Hot chocolate down the hatch. So far, so good. I feel as though this episode has been paced fairly reasonably. We're at the halfway mark, and it's almost like running a marathon. I kind of have to breathe, and no, there's no rushing. You know, it's very much about the mechanics of my mouth and my mind. What to say, what to speak about. I'm not sure, really. Am I allowed? I have a blockage in my head. Like, I'm not allowed to ask a pretty girl out on a date if I'm in uniform at work. The times when I feel like it's okay for me to ask somebody out on a date is, like, in passing. Last time I did it was actually, weirdly enough, at work, but I wasn't in uniform. I was just stopping and going. And I parked my bike, saw her outside, came back from my bike, saw her outside again. And then as I'm getting on my bike and leaving, I'm just like, excuse me, I'd like, I think I said you should let me take you out to dinner. And she said, I'm taken. And then I just got on my bike and left. And I turned back because I'm biking away. I was like, "You're very pretty." Just so you know, she didn't feel like I was only. Just so you know, she didn't feel like, you know, I was like cynical or like I feel like I just didn't want to rub off any like bad. Like if I could help it, you know, I didn't want to rub off any like bad, you know, bad like vibes. You know, like sometimes a homeless person will ask you for money and you'll say, "Sorry, I don't have any," and they'll like start cussing you out. Like that's just the worst. So I just wanted to make sure she knew that, like, yeah, but people say that shit all the time to girls and it just sounds gross. You know, do you know something? I was at work and this guy comes in and he asked for the restroom code, and I kind of had a feeling by the way he walked. So he walked in, he's got like his construction uniform on, go figure, right? Construction. And he, my coworker, whom is 16, you know, come on, man. And she's like trying to tell him the bathroom. I would have yelled at him, but I saw she was about to yell, so I kept my mouth shut. She starts to yell at him, and he turns 90 degrees and walks right over to her, like to hear it again. And I'm like, you didn't have to do that. You know, I had a little bit of a tiny inclination, which definitely came to fruition. Definitely came to flourishing, like flowering, flourishing. I don't know. Somebody let me know if I'm close there. When he came back out of the bathroom, and I'm standing now where he can't see me. I'm in the back, but I can see her and I can hear him. And he walks up to her and he's like, "Yo, like, let me get your number," or something, or like something like he said something, and she just snapped back with like, "Oh, I'm a minor," you know. And now I'm standing in there and I'm kind of just like, "All right, dude, walk away right now. Walk away right now. Like, right, walk away right now." And he does. But as he's walking away, he's like, "One day you're going to be a very beautiful woman." And I'm like, "Ooh, why did you say that?" But, bro, what's wrong with saying that? And did I not just say that I asked a girl out on a date, she declined, and I still decided to, like, compliment her, I guess? Like, what's the difference? Is there even a difference? Is there a difference? And if next time rejection knocks at my door, should I just turn my back completely and, you know, with a more of a disregard? Like, you know, a rejection is a rejection. So if you get a no, then it's like leave immediately. There's no need for like, "I think you're very pretty," as you're leaving. Because that's like sometimes my go-to. I often want to just be like, "Hey, also you're pretty," because like I think I'm like worried about like their feelings, which is fine. It's cool to worry about someone's feelings, but maybe not so much a stranger who's just declined your outstretched hand, I guess. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay to be like, "Yeah, nah. Like, we don't have to exchange any more words." Maybe that's fine. Or maybe it's just not that big of a deal. You know, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Because I was telling my coworker when he left, because she was saying like, "Oh, I felt bad." And I was like, "What? Like, why would you feel bad?" But she's just a good person, I guess. And I was telling her like, if I was that guy, I would not have, you know, if I was that guy, I definitely would not have said that. But is that even true? Probably would have. Dating is so tricky. Dating is so tricky. It's like breeding, but we're conscious. I seriously, I'm coming back to that. It's like breeding is tricky. Like if people, breeders, it's hard to get animals to fuck. Like everything has to be right. Right food, right temperature, right conditions. You know what I'm saying? Like everything got to be right. And we are just an extension of an animal, except now we can do math. Like I could do 2 + 2, so that makes this shit impossible. Like everything's got to be right. We both got to be freaky in the right time, in the right place. And then on top of that, like there's all this external shit. Like, like you got to like have a good relationship with your mother. Like you think when a dog sniffs another dog's butthole, it's like, yo, how's your 401k? Nah, man. Nah, it's like woof woof. Let me put it in there. Like, I get paid this Thursday. That should bring me up to around almost $1,500, and that's huge. By the end of the month, I could have $2,000, which would be a fantastic starting net to begin. My adult life. I have this genius plan. Whilst my roommates are about to move out, right? And the next time I'm going to see them is when we go to Colorado at the end of June, a little bit less than 2 months away. And it's like, how much could I transform my body in between now and the next time I see them? And it's like, what if I walk to work every single day and strictly banned processed food? Like, how much could I drastically change my looks in between now and then? Probably a lot. It would be really good for YouTube because people have a better time. People like to watch attractive people. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you watch or listen to something like this, you very much put yourself in that person's shoes, and it's very much like a experience, right? And why the hell, like, people want to put themselves in the shoes of attractive people, and eating better and exercising more makes you more attractive. Says the guy who's about to go to work and have a tuna. Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm gonna have what I always have. I'm gonna snack. So this is what I do at work. This is why this is so bad. At work, I get there and hold your breath because this is really awful. I get there and keep in mind, at work there's a snack bucket. I'm not supposed to be eating the food from work. I have to pay for it. I get a 50% employee discount, but I just take it anyway. I don't care. I eat like a raccoon. I get in there. First thing I do, right? Among the first things I always do when I get to work is I combine the grill bacon and the line bacon together and take the grill bacon dish back to get washed. But there's always bacon scraps that aren't big enough to be full pieces of bacon. And I act like I'm not taking full pieces of bacon throughout the day entirely all the time anyway. I definitely am. But first I kill all that bacon scrap. And they've been soaking in oil. So it's like the oily, like drippy oil bacon. Like where it's so much oil overload on your tongue, it starts to not even taste like oil, It's like you unlocked a new taste. And I eat that. And then, then I dip into the snack bucket and I'm having like hot spicy Cheetos or like a chocolate bar that's like labeled as some sort of protein bar. You know what I'm saying? And then I get a cup of water, maybe even a cup of soda. I drink that, maybe some more water, And then, I have a slice of cheese there, slice of pepperoni there. Depending on what I'm slicing for the customer, I'll just kind of slice a little bit extra for me, And then maybe another couple pieces of bacon. And then, God forbid, an order gets messed up or made twice. I'm killing that thing. And then before we leave for work, I'm scooping out the bread. You can scoop out the bread part of the bread so it's like hollow. And I do that because I can stuff it with tuna. And that way when I bite into the sandwich, the tuna doesn't squirt out on the sides. And the tuna is like, yeah, it's tuna, like the same that you buy at the grocery store. But it's made with mayo. And it's so good. And I eat that. And I'll put it on wheat bread to make myself feel better. But sometimes I put it on rosemary parm bread to make myself feel better. And then I'm having a glass of soda with that. And there's soda throughout the day. And I'm eating chips. More slices of cheese. Whatever the hell. And that's why when I first started working at Jersey Mike's, I tried to stick to and ban Jersey Mike's from my diet. Because I knew this shit was going to happen. And here we are, having to ban it all over again. Maybe I could do like Freaky Friday, where I get to eat a Jersey Mike's sandwich every Friday. That could be cool. But I don't really want to do that. Because why would I do that every Friday? Stopping not drinking and not smoking weed is like changing my perception on everything. Because nobody doesn't drink. Everyone drinks. Everybody drinks. And I felt like I was starting to sort of win my roommates over for a little bit. Like, they wouldn't really drink that much. I felt like I was starting to kind of win them over. But then, like, their friends come to town and then everyone's fucking drinking. And even when the friends left, I get home the other day and, like, they're just drunk. And it's like, bro, let me get one thing straight. Nothing wrong with drinking. Nothing wrong with getting drunk. But when you don't do something that everyone does, things get weird. Things get weird. Like, as much as you try to ignore it, it's just a truth of the situation that everyone else drinks and you don't. And it's like this weird thing. And I feel like it's allowing me to sit with and be okay with difference. And, when shit comes up like, yo, I like my chicken unseasoned. Like, I like my chicken plain. I like to bake it and just eat it right out of the oven. I'm more like sturdy in that, and I don't feel so crazy when people are like, yo, you're crazy. It's just like, hey, listen, you asked, this is how you eat my chicken. If you want to dig in, I can try and explain it to you, but like, you might not ever understand. It is what it is. That's how I like my chicken, because with weed, it was easy. With weed, it was like, I'm not around anybody that smokes weed anymore. And, with my, this is one of those times where, like, I'm moving to New York City, in New York City, there's a crowd for everyone, a group for everyone. I'm sure the friends that I end up making and the places that I end up going don't have alcohol. Why? Because why would they? Like, and the places I end up going and the people I end up making friends with probably don't have processed food, They probably have bedtimes, Like, you are who you hang out with, but you also are who you are, And it can it's like kind of a mesh, It's like, who do you want to be and who do you want to hang out with? That becomes you. And that's why. Did you think we could get through a whole episode without me talking about New York City? You are mistaken. You must not know this show. And this, look, as much as it's exciting for me, it should be exciting for you too, because you get to live through me. We're going to go to the city together. This podcast is going to keep on going. I will not move there without a strong Wi-Fi connection. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will not go there without a very strong Wi-Fi connection. We are going to keep this show live, keep it real, keep it classy, keep it smooth, keep it fun, keep it smart, Keep it bold. Keep it fresh. Keep it new. All right, one song. You ready? No. Keep the pace. You don't need to sing. You don't need to. Come on. You don't need to. Hello from the other. Jack, it's a podcast. You don't keep it inside. I must have called. Keep it in 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart, and it truly doesn't matter. Tear me apart anymore. Ooh, anymore. I'm going back to 5:05. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. In my imagination, you look so crazy when you cry. Oh, also, on my bike to work today, I decided to give myself back music. Yesterday night, I went to the club and I re-downloaded Spotify. I have everything blocked on my phone, and when I was going through the block list of all the social medias, I just saw Spotify and I said, yep, but I'm getting Spotify back. I think that it's okay on my speakers because they don't get too loud. But I think that it's important to keep Spotify out of my car because those speakers go all the way up and I just can't help myself. I crank them max, and that's bad for my ears. But, I think on my bicycle, it's okay. On me bicycle. Come along on me bicycle. See, when you sing like that and like you start to get weird like ADHD like this, it kind of fucks up the pace. Like this is a marathon, And you kind of want to take a deep breath and find that rhythm again where you can talk about those things that get you to those places. Because you were saying some good stuff about like, why do you film yourself? And like, what makes you you? And like, where do you want to go, And then you just started like becoming Adele. I mean, that's cool and all. Maybe it's cool to be Adele. Hey, Mom, actually, you know how you talk about commenting sometimes and how you feel like weird about commenting and stuff? It actually would be very beneficial to me if you commented on every single video. I should be commenting on my own videos, commenting and liking on every single video, because that, when it's as small as me and like the numbers are as small as mine, everything counts. And going from 0 comments to 1 comments is 100% increase. And the algorithm sees that. So don't hold back. If you think this was a good episode, comment. I think it was too, but it's not over yet. We got more to go, more to come, more to see, more to win, more to run. Here we go. Too slow. Mario. We got just over 3 minutes left in the show. So what do I want to tell you for 3 minutes? Maybe let's get inspirational. Doesn't matter how old you are, where you are, who you are. You can literally do anything. I know a lot of people, will say this and do that and think here and, yada, yada, yada. You can actually do anything you want. And when it comes to stuff like, oh, well, I want to be a billionaire. Okay, you can. But keep in mind how along that path, like, you might find that, like, your mind kind of does you a little bit, like, strange. You know, it gets you a little bit dirty. Like it might say this and do that, and you gotta push through. Sorry, I just made eye contact with one of my neighbors. It was very weird. See, this is what happens when you don't pace yourself. Like I think I ran a very good pace in that one episode I did in Charlotte that got like 150 views. But here I'm kind of just like all over the place. Oh, I'm not. I think for the first 30 minutes I was rock solid. I think I was very rock solid for the first 30 minutes. But now, you know, I'm in that space where it's like, when is this going to be over, you know? And I should be in the space of like running through the finish line, not to the finish line. Yeah, write that down. Running through the finish line, not to the finish line. Through, not to. Through, not to. Through, not to. I'm going back to 5:05. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. In my imagination, you look so crazy when you cry. Something about the times. I'm going back to 5:05. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. In my imagination, you look so crazy. I'm very excited for the music on my bike ride. I'm pumped up for that. It's going to be like... See? You see what I'm saying? Like, it gets kind of loopy. When I lose the pace, I lose everything. And I'm just like, nah. This has been episode 134, Keeping It Real, being your host, jackkadis. I'm honored to be here, to be honest with you. Completely honored. Flabbergasted. Crowned. Lit. Swag. Fam. Dope. I should be good on time because everything else gets filmed on my walk. And I just got to do drone and title card and read a page of my book. And then there's no way I don't finish that before 2:30. It only takes 10 minutes to bike to work. You know, I could maybe, just maybe. Nah. Well, actually, if I rendered it, I could. Nah, I think I need both. We're going to take both. We're going to keep with the schedule. Okay, I'm not going to get fired because I'm doing my video stuff at work. Only because in these current 2 weeks, there are no customers. That's the only reason why. But this is the end of the episode. The end of the episode. It's the end of the episode. This is the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. I'm so happy that you made it to the end of the episode. The end of the episode. The end of the episode. This is where I sign off on the episode. All right, man. I'm gonna see you when I see you. That'll probably be tomorrow. I'm gonna hold off for like 3 seconds because I think I started this episode like 3 seconds late after I started the mic. It is 1:41, so this is going to be kind of cutting it close. I just want to change my shirt, that's all. All right, see you tomorrow. Peace.